Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here at the Abercrombie & Kent Club 100. It's the 100 top agencies who are great sellers of Abercrombie & Kent. I'm here with a familiar face, Keith Barron, who's the president of Abercrombie & Kent USA. And we're going to talk about this event as well as what was revealed at this event. And there was a lot. There's a lot of product coming in from Abercrombie & Kent, and you'll find out about all that and more on Insider Travel Report. First of all, Keith, thank you for inviting me. It's a wonderful event. It's actually my first time, and as I said, I'll be back if you invite me. It's an amazing event here in Chicago. We're actually at the Peninsula, and you got your top travel advisors, travel agencies, as well as all your team from around the world, and you have a pretty big team. But let's talk first a bit about what is this event. Tell us exactly what the purpose of it is.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Really appreciate your being here, and I'd love to start out by saying thanks to all the advisors out there for doing what you do every day. We know you've worked so hard through this pandemic, and we very much appreciate all of your support. This event really is an exceptional opportunity for us to say thank you to our top advisors around the country. It's a really key, important event that enables networking among advisors themselves, but also provides an opportunity for the advisors to get together with our own DMCs from around the world. As you mentioned, we've brought in everybody from all around the world to speak to their regions, to advise on new things that are interesting and what's hot in various destinations, and also discuss any challenges that remain from the pandemic.
Or even the current challenges with Ukraine and all that, right?
My gosh, yes, absolutely. And importantly, aside from the challenges that we deal with, this event really gave an opportunity for everyone to become re-energized. And I'll tell you, the energy that we felt, and I hope you did too, the energy that we felt at this meeting has been really exceptional, and I think everyone fed off everybody else's positivity, and this is probably the most optimistic meeting that I've been to in quite some time, certainly since pre-pandemic. And the great news is that everybody is feeling very positive, very optimistic, and really for the first time in a long time, quite confident about what's to come.
That's been an amazing in that sense. And a lot of these people, I was surprised that this is their first really big meeting back, even though there have been meetings, but and you've done it in style and really gotten them to get back and start selling travel again.
Yeah, we heard that quite a bit from so many that for many people it's the first time that they've actually joined any event, any industry event since pre-pandemic. So from that extent, people have been terrifically excited to see one another, share ideas, share thoughts, but even for our own staff, it was exciting to see in particular our staff from Australia who've left the country for the first.
That's new. They can get out again. Finally, we can go to Australia and go to New Zealand too.
Indeed, very, very exciting that the world's reopening. Right now, A&K has more than 80 countries that are open for visiting, open and suitable for A&K travel that we're operating in right now.
And actually, you're a very unique company in that all of your DMCs you kind of own and associate around the world. So you have incredible reach and depth to really do the job when people want to book travel.
Yeah, indeed. And I think one of the great benefits for advisors that, when you work with A&K, you're working with our global network of DMCs in addition to our office in Chicago. And it's like working with an A&K family. We are friends, we are colleagues, but everyone is laser focused on caring for the same client.
Right. No,
so it's quite seamless.
Now let's talk about the last 2 years, maybe 2 years plus. Yeah. As we hear some lively people here on here. There's a lot of agents who have a lot of fun. Now, what has it been like? What have you learned from this experience, if anything?
Well, I'll tell you, there's been a whole lot, and I think the entire industry has learned a whole lot. For us, one of the keys to our being successful through the pandemic has really been our diversification. We're diversified in destination, right, geography, and also product type. And that for us has really been so critical and so important. And in fact, we learned that in a surprising way. We launched our USA DMC, the first time that we've had a USA DMC of our own.
You had a lot of trips in that. I remember last year, and you launched it, and it was amazing. Even I think 2020.
It was extraordinary. In fact, we didn't know how lucky we were when we actually launched the USA DMC in January 2020. By mid-March, we had halted all of our operations worldwide. Right. It was just, really, it was not even 2 months later that everything stopped worldwide. And at that moment, we took the opportunity to seize the domestic interest, and we created 13 new tailor-made journeys, specifically to support domestic travel. Right. And exceptionally well. 2020, you'll be surprised to hear this perhaps, but 2020, for our U.S. office was our historic. It was a historic numbers year for us for U.S. travel.
That's amazing. So you really created a whole new business, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and it enabled us to gain a good foothold in the U.S. with the new DMC. And again, it was a timing issue, but it worked. Now the rest of the world was challenged, but the USA DMC really survived quite well in 2020.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you how you got through the pandemic. That's one of the ways, but how else did you get through the last 2.5 years?
Well, we spent a lot of time working with advisors and providing information. And early on in the pandemic, we had A&K Live events. We had our Dust Off Your Passport webinar series. We refreshed our blog on abercrombiekent.com with new, robust information to excite people to travel. We supported with other social media campaigns to help advisors as well. So we very much stayed in contact with the advisor community and made sure that the advisors knew that even though times were tough, we were there for them.
No, and you did a fantastic job, and now they're all here and they're all appreciative. Now, one of the things I learned about Abercrombie & Kent, and I sort of knew this, but you have a lot of different product lines, and a lot of the stuff some new stuff you introduced here. But go over briefly for us your different product lines and how they apply.
Well, of course, our core product line is our primary land product, and these are mostly group journeys and tailor-made trips, right? So we have our group journeys, which are small group journeys. Typically our luxury small group journeys do not exceed 18 guests on board, and we have these all over the world in numerous destinations, numerous countries, all very much consistent with the A&K standard. We built our company on FIT or tailor-made travel, and once again, we can recreate any of our group journeys into a private journey for guests, but we also have more than 100 itineraries as examples for advisors to be able to use to guide their clients in terms of travel. So luxury small group journeys, we have other small group journeys such as our connections programs, our tailor-made travel. But beyond these, of course, we have our Wings Over the World journeys, which are exceptional programs which enable small aircraft movements between distance that are far off. And of course, we do it again in quite A&K style.
Which may be a popular way to go right now, post-pandemic, when people want to travel in much smaller groups, right?
In fact, this is exactly what we've heard in more recent times, in the last 6 months in particular, when people are ready to get back out there. They're ready to get back out because, but in the Wings Over the World journeys, it's very much a bubble-type atmosphere where our folks traveling together, and most of our Wings of the World journeys are 14, 15 guests traveling together, depending on the size of the aircraft we use. But because we stay together as a small group, we're able to move directly to the aircraft. We can avoid big crowds, and we can really maintain this bubble. It's quite a nice approach that people appreciate.
Yeah, and of course, then we left off the list expedition cruising and private jet journeys, which are two of your core products, and you've really been expanding in expedition, right?
Absolutely, indeed. We actually will have 16 itineraries for 2023. Including 4 brand new programs that are so tremendously exciting for us. On the expedition cruise side, we're looking we look at our products in 2 sort of separate categories. One is our pure expedition cruise, which are mostly focused on polar destinations, but we also have our cultural cruising, which include destinations like Japan and so on. But we're able to approach these in a way where we, in many cases, in Greece and so on, where we can actually use Zodiacs to support in an expedition type of way the delivery of these cultural cruises. And in terms of private jet, I don't want to leave that one off because it's so important to us. We offer primarily around the world private jets, and these are usually from 23 to 26 days. Okay. And we also have some regionals, and we'll see some new regionals coming out in the near future, including one that focuses on Africa.
That's great, and Africa has been a mainstay for you throughout this, but as you said, you're expanding all over the place. This company is also, I believe, celebrating 60 years, right?
We are indeed, and that was a great focus of this event, and it was so great to have all of the advisors with us to help celebrate, because it is in fact the advisors who built A&K starting 60 years ago. I'll say also that our relationship with North American travel advisors began actually 50 years, because A&K USA itself here in Chicago is celebrating our 50th anniversary just coincidentally this year as well.
So a lot of milestones here and a lot of things to celebrate here. Now, as we emerge from this pandemic, what do you think are going to be the products that really resonate both for travel advisors selling them and for their clients?
Well, I'll tell you, in terms of geography, we've been seeing huge demand for Africa, in particular African safaris in East Africa and Southern Africa. Really tremendous demand. Safaris are great for family travel. There are small boutique lodges that can be used and so on, but keeping families together in small vehicles, moving about independently, it's really has a lot of interest right now, and my expectation is that's going to continue at least throughout this year and into 2023. The other is, in fact, maybe unsurprisingly, Europe. But
everyone wants to get back to Europe.
It's true. I think it's a relatively easy destination for many clients, and it's perceived as quite safe. Perhaps even during post-pandemic times here.
Yeah, and we have this issue with the war going on in Ukraine. But I was just in Europe myself, and it really is safe. And I think people, or maybe it's the pandemic, that people are we're going to travel regardless, and so they're not going to care about the war as much anymore because they've been cooped up for 2 years.
There's huge pent-up demand. It's really tremendous for so many destinations around the world, and Europe at the top of that list.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we talked a little bit about what do you think for the future in terms of what you're going to offer? Because you seem to you create so many different new products, and you always try out new destinations. But where do you think the future is going to be for your destinations? You said Africa and Europe right today, but what about for beyond this?
Well, I'll tell you, in terms of product type, we talked about Wings Over the World, and this product is resonating so dramatically that we've actually grown this program more than 100% in terms of product offerings just over the past couple of years, and including pandemic, through pandemic time. So these programs that offer a special niche for the right type of traveler really is what's resonating, and I expect to help drive our success into the future. Not just the Wings Over the World programs, however. Our expectation is that we're going to be growing, you mentioned already, our expedition cruise product to new and broader destinations, particularly on the cultural visit side. And then also, of course, our private jets. We expect that we're going to be offering more around the world private jets to differing destinations. Our wildlife safari.
Yeah, I've heard about it. They're amazing, right?
Jet is just extraordinary. The feedback is extraordinary, and it seems as though once we put them out for offer, we've got to develop another one to new destinations. So there is huge demand there as well.
Now, you mentioned at the beginning how important travel advisors are to A&K, and obviously you wouldn't hold this kind of event for them. But talk a little more about that, and what else you want to say to travel advisors out there.
What I would like to say is thank you. Thank you for your support, thank you for your professionalism, and thank you for supporting Abercrombie & Kent really for these 60 years. We would not be successful without the travel advisors who support us. I mean that wholeheartedly. We are dedicated to you, and we appreciate your dedication and loyalty to A&K as well.
No, and it's an amazing relationship that has been built up over the years. Your founder, Jeffrey Kent, is an amazing guy. I've interviewed him before. He isn't here, sadly, this time, but hopefully we'll see him soon. But it is just an amazing company and a great history. And in fact, I think we got that history in a book form as a gift, which I'm going to spend some time reading on the way back on the flight.
Yes, indeed. Safari, that's Jeff's. It tells a lot of great stories, and I would recommend that any advisor who's interested in learning a little bit more about the history of A&K and some of the great stories that Jeff has told over the years, pick up that book, Safari.
Absolutely. Well, Keith, again, thank you for inviting me to this event. I know I'll see you on the circuit soon somewhere, but it's been a wonderful, really my first experience, and really enjoy it. And hopefully it's every 2 years, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So in 2 years, hopefully we'll come back here and see what you, and hopefully it's not going to be the same conditions, well, post-pandemic and during the war and all kinds of things. But this is travel. This is what we face, and we have to survive it throughout.
It is indeed. Thanks so much, Jim. I really appreciate it.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.